Butler replaced it with R11. In a residential application, I always understood that for bat insulation, the plastic surrounding the bat is the vapor barrier. Should R11 have been used? As I understand Henry's report, it does not meet code, but the town accepted it. I do not know how a court would rule with the issue of a municipality accepting a bid that contained an element which violated the code. As a municipal entity, in my opinion, the court would probably hold that you are deemed to know the code and accepted the bid spec that did not comport with it. Butler was explicit before he commenced work that he would be using R11. In my opinion, the court would probably assess significant responsibility to the town for drafting a vague and opaque bid specifications and failing to have written contract detailing the scope of work. The town can file suit, which they would likely motivate Butler to file a claim with the insurance company. The company may offer an amount to settle. The town will need to specify a damages amount. I don't know what the value of the installation of the insulation is. There is no documentation to that effect. The town did not require a parts and labor breakdown, and Butler did not provide it. I recommend getting an estimate to replace the insulation. I would get 2 estimates. One for the insulation Butler installs for an apples to apples comparison, and one for the insulation required by the code in the event the town decides to sue and the court holds that Butler should have had installed insulation as required by code. Let me know how you wish to proceed. And then he sent another email. Steve Peck emailed me to advise that Butler has retained Brian Shue to represent him in this matter and to correspond with Brian henceforth. If Brian handled any matters concerning the highway barn roof in the past, it may present a conflict for him. Please advise.
You know if he had.
He just represented the town, period. He was the town attorney for years.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Butler talked to him about the roof before this stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he saying that there would be a conflict with him if he's done something recently or since he was
He was our town attorney.
What do you want to do, Dean? You want to wait till spring and try and
Well, I'm afraid we're gonna have to.
wait and see?
I'm not happy with it at all, none whatsoever. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, the other person that was there actually installing the notes, Andy didn't do that. He had a bad back or he was in the hospital or whatever. Did that person work for him or did he subcontract to him? I'm just thinking of that and wondering what part of that, because when I asked him, he said, we've been in the business for many years and he'd done this and done that and done the other. But the more I think about it, I'm wondering, because I know Andy wasn't available to actually get up there and do any of that work. Did that person work for him or did Andy subcontract to him to do the job? Something I think we need to look into.
I think the town paid Andy, so Andy's sole responsibility regardless
I was
whether
gonna
he
say,
had to do it.
Yeah, even if he hired him, you're right.
It says name on the whole deal, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a shame that the code officer wasn't involved in the whole situation. That's the part that might get you right in the back, is not having the code officer involved.
The insulation wasn't the right insulation you're putting on to begin with.
Right.
And I even, you gave me material, I called companies, got a person that was in Pennsylvania and he came up and he said, you know, you have to have this insulation, you just can't put fiberglass in. And we know that, because it doesn't have the vapor barrier on the top part of it.
And the metal should have had a vapor barrier too.
But I can't get these other people, and the person who's engineering this definitely should know that, if anybody should.
And the front is cut too short
Because that's his job.
and he put that in his report.
I understand that.
Wow.
It's very exasperating.
I just hate to keep wasting money on lawyers and the engineer and not getting anywhere. we should just move forward and just fix it.
I'm afraid that's what's gonna happen. We'll come to the point where we're at the point of no return. I think we're probably there now. We've just about tried every method that we could.
I guess the last bit was, didn't Andy always say he would try to fix it the best he could in a cob job fashion? He could still come back and do that if he would agree to that, and it's about all you can do. I don't think
You're
you're
not
gonna
gonna
get.
fix the insulation part of it.
No.
That's half the issue. Outside of the screws that are through the roof that are silicone that haven't hit anything. If I came to any one of your homes and did that there, there's a gentleman sitting right over there that could tell you the things that we did to make sure those kind of things never happened when him and I were doing work. You just don't do those things.
Well, it's unfortunate for sure.
And to take a sheet off and use it as a template over top of the new sheet and put them back on, and you don't know if the screw sizes are the same as the holes of what you got, well, whatever. It's dragged on way too long, and we're stuck.
I mean, me personally, I guess at this point in time, try and maybe just fix the insulation in the spring, leave the roof on there, see how many years we can get out of it. Every few years, go up and re-silicone the screws, so we don't have to have the expense of doing a whole new roof again. And if the gutters, would the gutters take care of, because I haven't looked at it, Dean, with the putting gutters on there, is the overhang enough where?
On the back it is.
The
Okay,
gutters on the back.
Yeah, on the back there's no problem at all.
so we could probably get them,
Use it as a
find somebody to
sealant
do
on the
that.
back, but,
Yeah, do that in the spring.
Do they make a rubber piece you could put underneath the roof to seal it?
There's probably patch tapes, but then you'd have to
Or like
remove the
a
insulation.
Kind of a thicker rubber that you could just pull it up on the end that's cut too short and put it in?
Yeah, I don't know.
To seal it from coming back in the building through the insulation?
I'd have to see, I don't really know.
Well, usually they make one for metal roofs, corrugated,
Yeah,
up and down, and
rubber that goes in,
it's about an inch thick and an inch the other way too.
so we could put those in.
And that was used on the front, except in places where the insulation came out and the water wicks
It's wicking
the
right
water back in through into the building.
there. Now the backside is the eaves trough. It's coming right through and then hitting that wall and coming right down.
Well,
So-
the eave trough in the back, I mean, it's
It's
just
gone.
non-existent. It's gone completely, it's totally shot. And that was in what you just read about replacing the
Yeah.
eave trough, and that was never done.
No?
But the roof hangs over 2.5 inches on one corner and inch on the other.
Yeah. Do we wanna meet in the spring and come up with a plan?
I mean, the only plan would be to get somebody in there to put the new insulation in and maybe the gutter on the back.
Can you come down and meet in the spring?
Yeah, I could come down.
Do you have good contracting,
I could come down, and take a
skills?
look.
come up with a plan?
We talked about it once before about the foam, but
Mhm.
that's as expensive as the new roof.
And then the roof isn't worthy of putting that on.
You could have 20,000 in that,
Yeah, on a crappy roof.
it shouldn't be. Sorry.
Okay, well, look, maybe the end of April,
Sure.
we'll meet and make a plan. Okay, Richard Stewart was in at the last meeting and discussed the Steuben County mitigation and demolition and cleanup charges. And how the town could put that on taxes, remember him talking about that?
Yeah.
So the county sent us a letter regarding that, so if anyone wants to read it, basically, I'll read the bottom paragraph. The county would like to take this opportunity once again to urge municipalities to contact the county if you anticipate having to incur costs for demolition, so that we may work together to mitigate these costs. Should you have any questions or concerns regarding this policy, please contact me, Scott Bennett. So if we ever come to that bridge, just call the county first. And then the Toshiba lease is up in July of 2021. Sue would like to start reviewing leases and different ones in April. It's more just an update. And then Sue's computer, she's having some trouble with that, starting last week, right, or the week before.
The week before, it's been too much. I can't do any clerk, my clerk program won't run in the computer I have, the new update. So I've gotta get a new computer. It's a 64-bit instead of a 34-bit, or 32-bit, so hopefully within the next couple weeks, get it fixed.
And didn't you have Ed? He priced one, right?
Yeah, it took me a week to get a quote from him, but I did get a quote. It's like $700 for the computer with him installing the software in the computer.
Do we need a resolution to approve that, or?
I'll make a motion that we let Sue upgrade the computer and to check on the leases for printers.
I'll second it.
Kiefer,
Aye.
Lansford,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
and Murray.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nay, and 0 abstain.
So we, I think, got to the ending point on the emergency plan. Part of the plan, it needs to be submitted to Teamsters Local 317 for their approval. So I wanted everyone to just kind of zing through it tonight, and then I can submit it to them.
Would we still have to though, since we passed that resolution?
I think we probably better, because this is law that we have to have this plan in place, and then if they say we didn't submit it to them,
No.
but it is kind of a gray area.
Right.
So pretty much the plan goes through with what will happen if there is another emergency. And we just listed down highway plowing, road maintenance are number one priority. And town clerk, town supervisor, number twos, and this is all on page 6. Page 7, we came up with a staggered shift for the town hall.
You guys are pretty much doing that now, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much our schedule now. Just so no one will be here at the same time. I did add in, and if you guys don't like the wording, we can change it. During this emergency, town supervisor will have the authorities to pay the bills without prior to on-board approval. Town clerk will schedule for each town councilman to come in and review the bills monthly/bi-monthly, depending on the severity of the emergency. And then town supervisor will review agenda items for the monthly board meetings. If the items on the agenda will impede essential functions of the town, the meeting will be switched to a virtual meeting. Otherwise, the meeting will be canceled until the following month, kinda how we did last spring. Tom, I was thinking, if we did switch to a virtual meeting, we could get that computer with like a little camera for you,
Oh,
and then you could come down and use that,
okay.
or Cindy and Dean. And then I'd come down and just stay in my office, and
Oh.
we could space out that way, or if you and I just wanted to wing it, we could just
All right.
meet in here.
Okay.
Or, and Sue, whatever she wanted to. But if you guys wanna go home and read through it and make any more notes, and I can send it to the union for review, cause it'll probably take them a whole month.
Mm-hmm. You have to have this in April?
Yeah.
And this was pretty much a template anyway, right?
This is a template from, the emergency response, Tim Marshall in Steuben County.
What he got from the Association of
He
Towns,
did get
right?
Association of Towns.
I mean, we could pass it tonight if you want to, it's up to everybody else. I
Well,
mean,
it's gotta go before the union.
yeah, well, we pass it tonight with a motion to send it to the union, or do they have to
Yeah.
approve it before it comes back, you know?
Well, we could pass it tonight, you guys could still look at it, they could look through it, I'm sure they'll find things they don't want. And then we can go and redo it again in August, or April. Or else double.
Well, it gets the ball rolling if it's gotta be done by April, I mean.
Well, then
Want to pass a tentative version of it?
All right, I'll make a motion to pass the public employee health emergency plan for the town of Fremont and send that to the Teamsters local.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Murray,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Keeper,
Aye.
Blanford.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstains.
Okay, next up, we need to do a resolution to pay the bills on abstract number 3.
I'll make a resolution to pay the bills in abstract number 3.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Blanford,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Keeper,
Aye.
Murray.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstains. Dollar amount is $20,721.24.
Could you repeat that, please?
$20,721.24.
Yep. Thank you.
And just so you're aware, the national fuel gas bill I have not gotten. So last month it was $167, so I put on the abstract $150, so that we at least pay something. I don't know why it didn't, because I have everything online, but they just didn't have the bill ready yet,
Okay.
so.
And then Jeff wanted me to talk about, last year he did the broom rental. It's $1,100 for the week. He'd like to rent it mid-April after the snow is gone. But he was asking if we could do the resolution this month, so it's set for April and when he's ready.
How much was it?
$1,100 for the whole week.
I mean, we got our own broom, right? I mean,
But I guess this one's bigger, they can do the whole road in one pass. The other one's pretty small.
When does it start?
Mid-April, or even May, depends on when the snows.
He got it last year, didn't he?
He did get it last year.
but we got by for many years without it though, too, so.
Well, we can wait till April and talk about it if you want, when Jeff's here. Okay.
Take-
He wanted me to tell you that Draggett for the crushing is gone up to $2.85 per ton. Last year it was $2.40. They crushed 12,000 tons last year. He's gonna just crush 10,000 this year, so it'll equal about out between the cost difference. They will have training for 3 days next week. He's gonna make a list for road oil and stone, and we're gonna make a Google Earth map and then try to get it on the website, kind of a plan for the year. And as of right now, the oil and stone oil has already gone up 40 cents a gallon. So probably I would imagine in a few months it will be up more.
Thanks, Uncle Joe.
And then that brings me to, the town guys are taking first aid and CPR on Wednesday, March 17th. next Wednesday. Barry